Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Have you ever dated someone with a toxic or bad attitude? I am sure many of us currently are and have maybe in the past. Attitude is very important. It frames who we are as a person. And it's very important and it's very powerful. Dating someone with a bad attitude is not only exhausting, but in some instances it can be very nerve-wracking, and it is not a pleasurable experience under any circumstances. Our attitudes produce two things. It either pushes people away from you or people gravitate towards you. I don't know about you today, whether it's in the dating scene or the marital scene or whatever scene that may be in your life, and only you know that. I'm sure you would agree with me that you want people that will gravitate towards you and not push people away. No one wants to be with someone who is constantly negative and has a temper. No one wants to be with someone like that. Let me make something clear. Everyone has an attitude, and at times it may manifest. So I am not in any way suggesting or encouraging you to suppress it. There's times where many of us will have what I would call our moments. Okay, that happens. That doesn't mean you're toxic. It just means that's how you're expressing yourself. If you're with your partner or whoever it is, they'll understand that. So from time to time, when we were children, we even had what we call attitudes. I would say about my daughter, oh boy, at times she has an attitude. So in so many ways, it is a part of us. But what's important here is distinguishing the contrast between a person who just has an attitude and one that is toxic. And also asking ourselves, what does a bad attitude look like? But before we answer that question, let's define that word attitude. What does that word attitude mean? The word attitude is a settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or something. Typically, one that is reflected in a person's behavior. Other terms are viewpoint, frame of mind, or perspective. That's all what attitude means. It's your point, it's your viewpoint, it's your frame of mind, it's your perspective. So it is clear that our attitudes is associated with our mind. Your attitude is associated with your mind. Whether that is good or bad, it is associated with who you are. It's associated with your mind. How we think, our feelings is associated with it as well. Could a bad attitude come from our frame of mind, our perspective, our viewpoint, our way of seeing things, our perception of ourselves? Have we become so settled in our thinking? Have we become comfortable with our bad attitudes? Are you even able to recognize it? I do have a bad attitude. Maybe I am pushing men away that are good men, or pushing women away who are good women because of my bad attitude. And until you address it, you're just going to have a reoccurring problem in future relationships and connections that you may have with people. If you can change your frame of mind, that is when your attitude changes. Until you change your perspective, your attitude will never change. Wow. Until you change your frame of mind, until you change your perspective and how you look at yourself and how you look at things, your attitude will always be the same. It will never change. Well, Brother Henry, this is just how I am, and this is just who I am, and if they don't like my attitude, that's their problem. Really? Is that the line of is that line of thinking that indicates that you will never change your mind? You'll never change your frame of mind, especially if it's a bad attitude. Perhaps you may even be asking, well, why nobody wants me? Why nobody wants to be around me? Why nobody wants to be my friend? Why nobody wants to date me? Have you considered that it may be your attitude? It could very well be that. Have you considered that? A bad attitude produces negative energy. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be around someone that produces it. Every time you're around them, it's like a negative energy that you feel. It's like when they walk in the room, it's like, ooh, nobody wants to be associated with that. And most people don't find that appealing. I know I don't. The attitude that you'll never change, it could also be a result of so many of our cycles and failed marriages, relationships, and friendships. It could be. But let's go back to the ultimate question. What does a bad attitude look like? A bad attitude creates two things in your life, and it's just this simple as we go to a close. It creates negativity or positivity. So today, look at your life. Ask yourself, who are the people I'm attracting in my life? What kind of energy am I carrying? Do I have a bad attitude? Do I have a toxic attitude? Am I pushing people away? I find myself in a cycle of friendships, relationships, failed marriages. How come it's not working for me? You have to go back and change your frame of mind, because until you change your frame of mind, as I said earlier, your attitude will never change. And having that attitude of, I will never change, this is how I am. And may I add this also, be who you are. Now, because some people do misjudge a bad attitude, and maybe that person doesn't have a bad attitude, they're just blunt, it's just who they are. And if that's who you are, just be that. But I think you can be blunt without being rude. You get what I'm saying? I think you can be yourself without being nasty to people or being mean-spirited to people. You can be yourself. Nobody's asking you to change who you are. But what I am saying, if it's detrimental to you and those you're connected to, and you find yourself in cycles of relationships, like I said earlier, and stuff like that, and you got a bad attitude, and you have to first of all recognize it. Recognition is the most important thing you have to recognize, because so many people have a bad attitude, but they can't even recognize it. And some do recognize it, and as I said earlier as well, they become comfortable with it. They become settled in that line of thinking. And today, we must change our viewpoint of ourselves. We must change our perspective, our frame of mind. And until you change that, your attitude will always be the same.
We hope you have enjoyed today's program. We want to connect with you. Visit us at facebook.com/The Brother Henry and You Show, or visit us on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Henry Harris 100. We're so grateful you tuned in today and hope you have a fantastic day.